So for the first part of sketching Tom Holland, our focus will be started from hairs, forehead, and then finally some part of the eyebrows too. So focusing on the main part, which technique will we use? There are three type of techniques, more than three also, but commonly three techniques like grid method, directional method, and direct method. In grid method we make lines, straight, square lines, and different type of lines, so that we apply small to big picture like mobile and print out into a completely whole A3 size or A2 size portrait sketching. Second is directional method, where we make small line to line things like straight lines and different type of line things that I don't know particularly, but I have known that technique of making a portraits. And then finally direct, like people make direct one eye, second eye, then nose and lips, and then make a whole portrait. And that technique I see most of the artists use that technique also. But what mistake beginner artists like me and other artists make is that they see a person who is making sketch in just 4.5 minutes, like completely portrait, a hyper realistic portrait in just 4.5 minutes. And what they don't understand is that that's a time lapse video, and for that particular portraits of hyperlapse sketching, it took them more than 50 or 100 hours, and they have edited that video and made it into a 4.5 hour minute video. But what beginner artists don't understand is that they cannot make this portrait sketch in just 30 or 1 hours. It takes a lot of more strength and time for sketching those particular hyper realistic sketches. So for this particular sketch of Tom Holland, we are going to use a method which is grid method, as I always use. I never go directly. I have tried directly going, or I have also tried using a directional method, but that doesn't suits me. And some of the postures or some of the parts of my sketches looks horrible while I use another method. So grid method is the best thing, and particularly very best thing for any beginner, intermediate, or any artist. If you want to make a smaller 3x3 sketch into a bigger 2-3 feet or more than 3 feet sketches, grid method is too useful for that. So now we are going to focus what the directions are. And before that, I want to tell you that if you don't know how to use grid method, how to edit your grid method, how to make your portrait into a, like the reference picture that you're using, convert it into a grid, and don't know how to do these things, just comment down below. I will make another portrait or tutorial for you all, that how I use a grid method. Directions for this particular Tom Holland sketch is that 14 boxes are there on horizontal part and 18 boxes on vertical part, and 18 boxes and one box is equal to 1.5 centimeter. I'm using A3 sheet, and it doesn't matter what GSM paper that you are using. If you are using a grid method or any other things, you can make a portraits. Most of our beginner artists see higher or advanced artists and say that they are using 210 GSM papers, and they think that if they will use the same technique or the same papers, their sketches will look too beautiful. But what they don't understand is that they have took more than 100 of hours for sketching a particular sketch, and they have made more than 300, 400, 500 sketches, so they know what skin texture, directions, and other things are. So first of all, do those things first, make more than 300, 400 sketches, then you will know how to use different type of methods and directly going for those things. So after getting the dimensions of this grid method, we are going to focus on the reference picture that I am using, and the reference picture is from Avengers movie, and Avengers movie's background is little bit somewhere darker, somewhere lighter, and other things, but we are going to make directions and background also, so that it looks more realistic. Now for the hairs, I have used 2H pencil and 2B pencil also, but those pencils are little bit lighter as compared to any other things. In my previous videos also, I have always told that for hairs use charcoal pencil, but I have also told you in every part that if the hairs are little bit brownish, lighter, or any other colors except black, so you can use graphite pencil. problem and the advantage of graphite pencil is that you can apply more and more grades. But if you will focus on your hairs, there are millions of hairs, right, on your head. So making those million of hairs is literally impossible. So you can make almost 100,000 also, but for those parts you have to sharpen your pencil as much as you can. And problem with graphite pencil is that after stroking 10 to 15 times, your pencil nib will look a complete flat, or it will not give you a straight line look. And hairs are always a particular length, like 0.5 0.25 mm, 2 micro mm, and every hair looks same, right? So not a particular one hair is little bit bigger as compared to any other one. So you have to focus where the darker and the lighter parts of hairs are. Like the straight through part of hairs of upper part of forehead is little bit darker as compared to upper hair parts, because those parts are exposed from the background of the light source. And one part that we have missed in starting is that where the light source is coming. So there are two light sources, one is from right hand side and one is from left hand side. So you have to keep on focusing where the darker shadows are going and highlights are going. Of course, the background part is making a lighter, complete light part on the hairs. As you can see, the end of the hairs are completely white, right? Those are not completely white, but those are the shadows and the highlights of the light source that is coming. So you have to keep on focusing on those details also. Now, as you can see that I have used makeup brush for blending the hairs, because if I will use a blending stump for blending those hairs, it will look completely horrible and flat look. And you know that the hairs and the part of eyebrows and another part where the hair is going on, like mustache, beard, those parts are not completely flat. Those are too detailed part, like smaller hairs, too small hairs, and the hairs of Tom Holland's are a little bit less as compared to any other hairs. So you have to keep on focusing where the directions of hairs are going, where the light hairs are going, like the end of the hairs of the Tom Holland is a little bit lighter as compared to upper part of forehead. So keep making those parts. Now for the skin texture, first make base layer, and the difference here is that right hand side part of Tom Holland forehead part is little bit lighter as compared to left hand side part, because the light source is coming from right side. So of course shadows will be on left hand side. So make those shadows using 2B pencil, and you can use 3B pencil on the left hand side part. Just darken it a little bit, and then for the third layer use mechanical pencil and make directions of skin texture. If you will focus on the skin texture of yours also, you will see small pores and cell type structures. So for making those cells I am using mechanical pencil, and the reason is that those mechanical pencils are just 2.5 mm and those are so small, and the skin texture is also small. So we will see how we will make skin texture.
So that was all for this tutorial. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like. Comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.